Hey guys, so I recently placed a fairly large order with Altenew. I want to lead this off by saying I have absolutely no affiliation with them. In fact, when I tried to talk to any of their people at NAMTA, I was pretty pointedly ignored. I don't think they knew who I was. I just figured if they didn't know who I wasn't worth talking to. And I went by their booth like multiple times through the weekend and kind of just hung around hoping somebody would talk to me because their products have been recommended to me in the past, both from people who are curious about them and from other creators. So I was kind of hoping to figure out what their whole deal was back then and where they place themselves in the market. So when I say I have no affiliation with Altanew, I really mean it. So I purchased a lot of their different supplies to talk about with you guys, and we can talk about whether they're worth it and whether they're a good fit for you, and if they're really rather more for crafters or if they're also acceptable for artists, and if that price point is an acceptable price point for you. I bought a bunch of stuff, and it came in a big box, and it arrived yesterday, and the big box came damaged, which it's a beautiful box. It's a shame it came damaged. So what I figured I would do is I figured we'd do an unboxing together, keep it kind of casual, that I would open it for you guys, do a little bit of a face video, which is something that is rare for me to do these days because my spouse and I both work from home and we work in the same work area. So it's just really rare for me to have time by myself to record things like this. So I thought I would he went off to play pickleball with my brother. So I thought I would take advantage of the opportunity to do a little bit of an unboxing with you guys. Okay, got that one. It's taped very well. Too bad they didn't pack it so well. Hopefully nothing inside is damaged. And I ended up spending quite a bit of money on Altenew. I'll pull up how much I spent here as well as the full list of what I bought, if I can do that without it revealing my mailing address. All right, so it looks like everything is okay inside of the box, but it's all packaged super loose. Like they put one sheet of protective and then it's like that. So, you know, for the amount that I spent, I would have liked to have seen it packed a little bit better. Let's see. Here is the, oh my gosh. That's how it got so expensive. I'm an idiot. I mean this. I bought 3 artist watercolor pan sets. How did I do that? I'm gonna have to return 2 of them because I don't need or want 3. So that's something I'm gonna have to get on. So 2 of these I'm gonna try to send back. I don't know if it was my computer messing up or if I was in a hurry or their site actually was when I was on it the other day very glitchy, and I did have a lot of trouble getting it to add things to my cart. So that's probably where the problem happened, but I need to see if I can return those because I don't need those. Okay, so we have a little bit of bent up paperwork that says, thank you for choosing Altenew. Since 2014, we've been on a mission to help crafters like you turn simple supplies into stunning works of art. Today, we're proud to inspire a global community of creatives across 144 countries, and we're thrilled to have you with us. Inside this brochure is a beginner-friendly class with a $49.99 value, favorite tools and products loved by crafters like you, your chance to win a $15 Altanew gift card. Happy crafting, the Altanew family. And they explain what makes Altanew one of a kind. They have what they call a zero waste system, like craft with a purpose. So I guess their stuff is designed to use every part of the die cut, including negative space. I mean, I think savvy crafters have been doing that a long time. Keyhole system for effortless layering. It features guide marks and numbers so you can align and assemble. That's actually pretty neat. And a one-go system, stamp, die cut, and go. Create multiple sentiments or elements in a single pass for fast, coordinated crafting made easy. And they have an online community with a QR code. And then they're gonna wanna sell me a bunch of stamping stuff. And I am sorry, friends, I'm not a stamper at all. So printmaker, not a stamper. So those are just not all that interesting to me. And then their first class is like stamped and die cut cards for everyday. It's called Quick and Simple Cards for Everyday Crafting. But I can look at their examples and it all involves die cuts and stamps. So it's not something that if you were brand new to this, you could do with a very limited number of supplies, which is fine. It's a free class. I personally just think a free class would be great if it used like the very minimal of stuff or showed you how to use stuff you might already have, but I'm not trying to sell you things and they are. Okay, sorry, let us get in here. So I picked up, other than 2 extra duplicates of their watercolor palette, which that's on me, I gotta fix that. And by that I mean I need to contact them and see if I can get a refund for those. I did intentionally bought 1 Altenew artist watercolor set. These have been recommended to me and I've never had a chance to even play around with them. I was hoping at NAMTA I'd get a chance to at least play around with them. I also purchased their, I didn't know this was a collaboration with the Mint Gardener, the Watercolor Compact Moody Brights. I just thought it was an interesting watercolor palette. I didn't know it was a collaboration, but that is cool. I like, as you guys know, I like collaboration products. I also bought their 36 half pan watercolor vibrant and smooth set. So I think this is their student grade set to compare against what I assume is their professional grade set. I also bought, because their alcohol markers have been recommended to me, and I do review alcohol markers, I bought their firewood garden set. So these colors here, I render a lot of, oh, these are probably duplicate greens, aren't they? No, I just have a lot of greens. Okay, that's fine. I render a lot of people, and I was having a hard time finding a set that had skin tones in it. Maybe that was user error, that, like I said, their site was really acting funny the other day. So I went with something that had a color palette that I like. And I also received, since I spent so much money, and I guess they wouldn't have sent me this if I hadn't accidentally bought 2 additional watercolor palettes. The Green Valley set. So I may leave this package in case they want that back. And then, okay, so they sent me a card that has some January deals, it looks like. So that's what it looks like. And of course they want you to tag them so much on social media, which I used to be big on trying to do that, and I never even got so much as like a like from those companies, so I don't really care about that anymore. I will only do that for companies who I think are actually doing like genuine good work. Like I will tag cat print, things like that. And other small businesses too, if I can remember. But no, I need to do that. But finally, what led me to their website to begin with is Lindsay's collaboration with Altanew. And I also, it's for this. Lindsay's collaboration with Altanew. I was confusing the Craftama Catwalk brushes that I recently got with this set. But no, I wanted to check these brushes out as well, since I have been reviewing a lot of brushes since my silver black velvets are starting to bite the dust. And then I also received, they did a couple of freebies, the Bone Folder and the Green Valley set. I don't think I got to choose my freebies, which is fine. So my total was still pretty chunky. I need to not include these because these were a mistake and I want to try and return them. So it's time for math. So the watercolor foundation brush set was $51.99. The 24 pan set would be $49.99. Oh, okay, I did pay for this. All right. The Green Valley set was $16, so that's on me. The 36 pan set was $35.99, and the what? Oh, wait, this must be the Green Valley. No, that says Firewood Garden set. So why is this not on my manifest. Page 1 of 2. Did they send me? Okay. That's on me. ID 10T error. Oh my God. All right, maybe they didn't send me any freebies because I think I got charged for them. I know with where my ADHD is at these days, with perimenopause, it can be bad, but it's not this bad. I think they charged me for things that seemed like they were pitched like they were freebies. Because honestly, I have 1,000 bone folders. I would not have bought a bone folder. And I would not have bought a bone folder for $23.99. So either I'm misunderstanding something, or I misunderstood something in the past, or I need to go dig through my receipts. That's super exciting. I love that. The watercolor compact was $24.99, and the firewood garden set of alcohol markers, which is a 16 color set it looks like? No, 12 color set, was $38.24. So I didn't use any special coupons. I didn't use any special deals. I just went to the site and bought some stuff. I think these things are pretty expensive for what they are. Having not tested them, but just kind of based on my own assumptions, which maybe I shouldn't do that. Normally, I would not spend, let's say, $51.99 on synthetic watercolor brushes. I just wouldn't. But I wanted to try out Altenew stuff. I wanted to try a variety of their things, and I don't know. Depression and impulsiveness is not always the best combination. So I'm gonna go pull up my emails and see if maybe they were just listing like even the freebies, like the value of the freebie, although it isn't like it's zeroed out in the item total, which is how if I was sending out freebies and I wanted the customer to know the value of the freebie, I would have the price, but then I would have the item total zeroed out for that, and that is not the case here. So like I've got some like unraveling to do with this. I'm sorry, I'm still floored that I bought 3 of the artist watercolors. So I'm still over here like a little embarrassed, a little like, oh my gosh, I gotta fix that up, because that ended up getting way more expensive than I wanted it to be, and I don't know how I didn't catch it, other than we've been just incredibly busy and I don't really get a lot of time to myself these days. So I gotta go fix that. I don't know how much of that first video where I'm sitting and kind of doing the unboxing that I decided to keep. I did reach out to Altanew. I did return the other 2 watercolor palettes. They said that they would refund me once they received the palettes. I did have to pay for my own shipping. They did want me to use their label, which was kind of annoying because I used Pirate Shipped to pay for my postage, and it was hard to get both on the package, but you know, whatever. So I'm still waiting to get my refund, but hopefully it will all arrive safe and sound. I outright asked if they wanted me to return the freebies that came from having spent so much money, and I did not receive any answer about that one way or the other. Not a yes, not a no. So I still have them. I will return them if they want them back, but I did ask directly and they just completely did not answer that. So, you know, just for full disclosure, it took a little while to get a response, but that's also because it never showed up in my inbox. It actually showed up in my sent box, which is strange. So some of that's on me. Yeah. All right. That kind of recaps all of that. That first video is going to be so fun to edit. Good thing that outfit's cute though. All right. So I thought it would be nice to like get up close with some of these things. I'm going to separate these out into different videos because you guys know I like to yap and it would take forever otherwise, but I did want to kind of show you guys up close what I got. So we got the Watercolor Compact Moody Brights. This is a Mint Gardner collaboration. In this set, it's a bold selection of 6 watercolor pans featuring saturated brights and moody tones across red, violet, yellow, blue, and green. Ideal for mixing, layering, and building atmospheric depth. In this set is magenta crimson, velvet, berries, Peachy Glow, Lemon Drops, Mermaid Green, and Starry Night, but they do all have pigment and light fast information, and I really appreciate that. Look, if you're going to give things kind of like, you know, makeup-y names, I do appreciate when you include the pigment information. And then there is a little bit of information about Sarah Simon. That's an artist that we've actually talked about in the Easily Influenced series, and I've actually taken a class with her. So I will link that in the description for you guys. We also have the Altenew Artist Watercolor Set, rich and luminous, exceptional colors for exquisite artwork, 24 half pans. So this gorgeous set of 24 individually wrapped half pans coordinates perfectly with our Altenew color family. So I guess this is designed to go with like their other products. The artist grade colors are intensely pigmented with little to no granulation. Don't love that. And blend beautifully, because I like granulation actually, and blend beautifully. They are stored in a convenient metal case designed with space for your brush and a palette in the lid for mixing. So very common for watercolors if you're not aware. These all have like makeup-y names, like Pure White, Summer Afternoon, Fiery Sunset, Warm and Cozy, Tea Party, Red Cosmos, Red Sunset, Cherry Blossom, Shades of Purple, Lapis Lazuli, Deep Blue Seas, Crystal Water, Starry Night, Cool Summer Night, Rainforest, Tropical Forest, Seashore, Green Hills, Pocket Full of Sunshine, Green Meadows, Fall Harvest, Delectable Delights, Coffee Break, and Rock Collection. Part of my problem is we currently, so the back of this included pigment information. You kind of set a standard there because now I'm going to want to see that among your watercolors. No pigment information here. I'm hoping there's pigment information inside. These are made in China. I would bet a lot of money that these are a white label product and that I overpaid for them, but that is what I do here on this channel. I buy things and then I go into my stash of watercolors and I find comps and we swatch them together and we talk about it. But if they're not providing pigment information and they promise little to no granulation, I'm kind of getting the vibe that these might, but might not be dye-based watercolors. That said, a lot of like Japanese, Chinese, Korean watercolors are granulated so finely that there is very little, or they're milled so finely that there's very little pigment granulation. So it could be an either or situation, and I look forward to exploring that in its video. I'm going to set the markers aside for a minute. We have another watercolor set because I wanted to compare their different watercolors. This is a 36 half pan set. Watercolor Vibrant and Smooth. This is Artistry by Altenew. Not sure how one line differs from the other. This is their 36 color set. This beautiful set of 36 vibrant watercolor half pans coordinates perfectly with our line of ink. They are intensely pigmented and fade minimally when drying. They are stored in a convenient plastic case designed with space for your brush included and a palette in the lid for mixing. And like I said, 36 watercolor half pans, plastic case, and water brush. These all have cutie names like Coral Berry, Cotton Candy, but they do have pigment information. So why does this set, which I'm assuming is the student grade set, have pigment info and this set doesn't? Interesting things to explore. I also plan, while all three of these are probably going to get their own videos so that it doesn't take 3 hours, I do like to do cross comparison. So that is something I'm very curious about. And then the reason I went to Altanew in the first place is that Lindsay Werrick has recommended that I check them out for a long time. Actually, she's the reason why I went by their booth at NAMTA. She has a brush collection with them. This is the Artist Watercolor Foundation brush set. I purchased this myself out of pocket. She doesn't know I'm doing this. So, you know, my opinions are going to be my opinions, and I can be kind of harsh when it comes to watercolor brushes. But I was curious about this brush set, curious about a set that she would curate, because I'm always interested in like what other artists like, what other artists are drawn to when I hang out with artist friends. I love when we can play around with each other's art supplies and talk about what we like and what we don't like about those supplies and just, you know, cross-pollinate ideas. So, you know, one of the reasons I like doing the Easily Influenced series is it can, when it's done well, feel like I'm getting a chance to play with an artist who I admire. I get to play with their art supplies. I get to get in their head. I get to see what they like and why they like it, and I get to learn new things. At its worst, I feel like I got sold something based on their name and not actually something that they would like. So this is a foundation brush set. Take your watercolor artistry to the next level with this expertly
can't read today. This expertly curated brush set, whether you're a beginner or a seasoned artist, these high quality brushes are designed to make every brush stroke effortless and every project a joy. And Lindsay has been teaching watercolor for over 20 years and lives in the beautiful state of Maine, where she finds inspiration in natural landscapes around her, painting whenever the weather allows. And then, so I did get some alcohol markers. Those were also recommended to me. I will say this, I've been reviewing a lot of alcohol markers because you guys, well, I like alcohol markers just in general, and I teach art, and alcohol markers come up from time to time. They are if you don't mind the fumes, they're a great way to add beautiful, vibrant, vivid color that you can blend with translucent effects on very cheap papers. Alcohol markers work on just very, very cheap paper. They work on cardstock. They are a flexible medium, and they can be a great resource for people who are interested in illustration. So it's one of the reasons I've been reviewing alcohol markers for as long as I have, which has been since I went to SCAD, which has been since 2009, which is, we're getting there. I'm not going to do the math on that. We're getting there. We're getting up there. It's over 15 years. It's been a long time. Don't remind me. Anyway, so I like alcohol markers a lot. I still use alcohol markers. I like sharing that with you guys. I have a bunch of alcohol markers here on the channel. Sometimes it's Copic, sometimes it's other brands. I'm not like sponsored by anybody, so it's just whatever I feel like doing. But I've been reviewing alcohol markers more frequently lately because there's been so many inexpensive options, very affordable and accessible beginner options on the market. And you guys do not seem to like those videos, and that kind of hurts. So if you actually like alcohol markers, please consider watching those videos. There's always like neat little tips and tricks that I share. Every marker is different, so it always gives me a chance to explain different aspects of alcohol markers, or what works, what doesn't work, and show off different techniques, especially with my more recent ones where I color a page from my coloring book, Curious Little Things, in every video, and we do all kinds of different techniques, whether it's surface design or ways to handle skin tone or ways to handle painting hair, or, you know, adding interesting backgrounds. There's always some new marker technique that works in coloring books in those videos. So if you like markers and you like coloring, you might want to check those out. Anyway, the Altenew alcohol markers were recommended to me. So as you guys know, I got the Firewood Garden set because this is a color palette that I really like. Normally, I am very drawn to skin tones because I'm an illustrator and I paint and draw people. This set does not have any skin tones. I'll be honest, when I was on their website, I didn't really see any sets that I felt worked well for how I like to color that also had skin tones. So I will probably have to figure something out with this. This is extremely green heavy, and I do love greens, but I do wish there were some more purples, like the green to purple or green to reddish purple balance was, you know, a little more half and half. It'd be a little easier for somebody like me. That is okay. Now, for the freebies, they sent the Green Valley set, which, oh, I wish they'd sent a skin tone set. That would have worked so much better. But they don't know me. We were not in contact beforehand. I did not reach out to them and tell them I was doing this video. This is 100% my own decision, because when I buy things from companies, in general, I want them to treat me the way they would treat anybody else. I don't want them to be better to me because I'm doing a video. I don't want them to be worse to me because I'm doing a video. I want to be able to talk about the customer experience with you guys in an honest way. And I feel like if they knew I'm buying something to review, that might change how the interaction goes. I've had people refuse to sell to me when they found out I was going to be reviewing the things. So, you know, it can go either way. It isn't always good. Sometimes it's not so great. So I do, you know, not incognito. I mean, if you recognize my name, you'll know it's me. I'm not trying to hide anything either, but I don't make a big deal about it. So there's no way they could have known is where I'm going with that. Okay, these are both in their Artistry by Altanew line. This is the Green Valley set. So it's a set of 4 markers, and these are one of the things I was kind of setting aside because I only received these because I had spent so much money initially, and since I returned 2 of the duplicate palettes I'd accidentally purchased, you know, that kind of means I don't hit that threshold anymore. But as I mentioned earlier, I did ask them and I got no response. So I will leave these for a while and see if I get any follow-up emails after they receive the watercolors saying that they want these back, and we will see. I did ask though. I wasn't like trying to like get around that by omission. I did actually ask. So the colors in this set are Firefly, Grassfield, Shadow Creek, Mountain Pine. And they also sent, I don't know if these are, it says brush tip and fine tip. Now, I'll be real, for the most part, with the exception of incredibly cheap alcohol markers that I get at places like TJ Maxx, Five Below, Dollar Tree, or Walmart, I always seek out brush tips because I don't like bullet tips. I have hand health issues, I have arthritis, and that's really hard on my arthritis. So in general, I try not to buy things I know I'm not gonna like. One, that's such a waste of money. Two, that's a waste of resources. And three, it just, you know, I don't have enough life in me to do that anymore. So these are brush tip, and they also sent a bone folder in their Crafters Essential line. I actually have a lot of bone folders because I make zines and mini comics and cards, so I don't really need more bone folders. Well, as a teacher, I always need more bone folders, but as an artist, I have plenty of bone folders. So anyway, it's like a little sneak peek at some of the videos that are going to be coming up in the future. I've never purchased anything from Altenew. Everything I really kind of got from them at NAMTA when I went is that they're really more crafter facing. And I do actually review lots of craft things. I like to make crafts myself. I had an entire Crafternoon live stream series a few years ago where we did cheap crafts together. So I do like crafting, but generally I find that when crafter-facing brands make art supplies, they tend to be way more expensive for a lesser quality item. And in my experience in the past, like with what's it called? Is it American Crafts? Is that the brand? That, like them, for example. There's a bunch of brands that Michaels will carry. They will overcharge for those things because the audience that's buying them doesn't necessarily go to art supply stores and doesn't necessarily realize that that's a student grade watercolor that they're selling at a professional grade price, right? So I was really interested to see how Altenew art supplies compare to what they cost. And this is just in case I didn't go over the prices to begin with. I'm going to go over the prices now. The foundation brush set was $51.99, so a little cheaper than Craft Ammo, but still very expensive for synthetic watercolor brushes. The 24 pan set was $49.99, which is cheap if we're talking about a true professional grade, but expensive if we're kind of expensive depending on the quality, and we'll find that out in another video. Kind of expensive for like cheap like student grade paints, but we will see where the verdict is out on that. The Green Valley set, which was a freebie, to be fair, they want $16 for a 4-color set, which I think is pretty high for something that isn't like a Copic marker that's meant to be refillable. The 36 pan set was $35.99, which for a student grade, that's student grade from a brand that people aren't super familiar with, so not from like Cotman, for example, or from Sennelier's La Petite Aquarelle. I would say that's pretty fair as somebody who has reviewed watercolors extensively for years now. The Watercolor Compact Moody Brights. So this is a smaller, denser compact. This was $24.99, and depending on the quality of the paints, we will decide if that's a fair price or not, and we'll do that a little bit later on. The Firewood Garden Artist Alcohol Marker Set was $38.24 for, this is 12 colors. That's actually more appropriate than what they wanted, I think, for the 4-color set. The 4-color set is about half the price of the 12-color set. And then the Essential Bone Folder, and you can tell that this was sent to me because I never would have paid this, is $23.99 for a bone folder. So I look forward to exploring and playing with all of these in another video. So if you would do me a massive favor, make sure that you are subscribed. I know a lot of you guys think you are. I know how that is because there's a lot of YouTubers that I watch and then I suddenly stop watching them and I'm like, well, where did they go? Becca, you were never subscribed to them. YouTube tells me that 80% of you guys are not subscribed. So if you like what I do, if you like my vibe, if you like my general weirdness, make sure that you are subscribed and click the bell notification for more updates. If you want to make sure you don't miss videos, you can follow me over on Blue Sky and Threads because I always share my videos over there the day or the day after they have been released. And if you want to like follow what I'm doing, I have an art blog that I share over on Patreon at patreon.com/natosoup. So I look forward to seeing you guys in these future videos. Videos like this and the upcoming ones, because I bought so much stuff, I did want to walk you guys through it, are made possible thanks to my amazing patrons over on Patreon. It is their support that really helps me do this. But also, I want to thank everybody who comes and visits me at Comic Cons, library cons, because the money that you spend at my table helps keep me as an artist. It helps me continue to make art. If I don't have an audience, there is no reason for me to make art other than for myself. And there's definitely no reason for me to share art. So if you like what I do, please just leave a like. It doesn't really take a whole lot. Or just say, hey, I like this piece. It really means the world to me and it really brightens up my day. Again, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, I share all that over there. And finally, it is also made possible from earning money from teaching, because I teach with my local public library. So if you live in Southeast Louisiana and you'd like to take a free art class with me, I host the St. Charles Parish Library's Art Lab on the first Wednesday of the month. You can head on over to their website. I'll try to remember to link it down in the description for a calendar of events, and that is how you register for those classes. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Bye!